right back, Charlie. Definitely.
There's always just that active red line defenders. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defenders. I think it's like.
Big show business, people. Deluded, I'm back again. Special all-star guest selection. Boys, how you doing? We're going to get into Arsenal versus Newcastle. Sadly, we have to talk about Porto. And I've got some more izzers and schisms for you lot. But yeah, man, big up all of you lot for tuning in. Before we go on, we have to have manners. You lot introduce yourself, man. Then don't be shy. If you have any opinions, just blurt it out. This is why I've got you lot here, man. So yeah, someone take the lead. Don't move shy, man. There's no gal here, man.
Yeah,
I'll take the lead.
You
go first, bro. You go first, bro.
Take the floor, man.
I'm Cav from Red Pitch Podcast. Yeah, man, that's me.
Let people, you're being too nice, man. Let people know your socials and that, man. All of you, of course, it's live camera as well, man.
The socials, the Red Pitch Podcast, at the Red Pitch Podcast on YouTube, Twitter, at the Red Pitch. Yeah, that's me on socials, man.
Subscribe, man.
Sub me up.
Next, man. Stop being awkward, man.
Okay, I'll go next, yeah. It's Monk. You might know me from Split Profits, a little rap group, but more time. Podcast is the channel. Starting to do a little combat sports, a little football and that, you know. And yeah, man, big up DG. Salute for getting me on, bro.
Nah, big up you lot for all taking part, man. I appreciate it, man. Next.
I'm Matt, back in the net podcast. Just listen, type that Twitter, Instagram, all that on there. Fellow Rebel Deluded. DG knows. Rebel, yeah?
yeah, I don't know. What's that? I just talk about football. I don't know, bro. I don't know about none of that.
Getting us on here.
Appreciate that.
Firstly, big up Deluded. Make sure you subscribe and like whilst you're coming in. I'm Gooner Souls. You'll probably find me rattling everyone, including Arsenal fan, and also Havertz is a lawyer here, so any slander on Havertz, I will be here.
We're gonna get into Havertz chat. But I want to address the bad before it gets off to a good start. Now, obviously, last week we lost to Porto. What's you lot's feelings in relation to the Porto game? How are you lot all feeling about the Champions League as a whole? And yeah, man, everything Porto.
Poor
pissed.
Performance, man.
I'll be honest, I am pissed, especially after today. Did you see in the Carabao Cup, Klopp had the audacity to put kids on? You man gunned for me. I'm not talking about you man on the panel, but the Arsenal fans have gunned for me all week because I said Arteta got it wrong. Arteta needed to inspire that team to a win. I understand it's 2 legs. I get you don't put in experience in the Champions League. I understand all that. But did you see those kids today? In a Carabao Cup final, in Wembley, a full stadium, you put how many kids on? 5 kids on. They had about 2 or 3 first-team players. Sometimes, yeah, you've just got to inspire something. And that, to me, whole game lacked inspire. Like, we didn't do anything. That sat there and gone, do you know what? We put fear into Porto. It was textbook. They were reading a script and going, Saka's going to cut in. They're going to get Ben White to pressure the keeper. It was like reading from a script. It was too easy.
Yeah, man, I agree with you on that. I think Klopp shows a lot of bravery. And it transmits through the team, innit? When you're subbing these kids on, it's the manager's letting you know, look, we're good. You know what I mean? Look, Liverpool won today. Put the kids on. They beat us in one of the games. Brought the kids on. And we were playing our top team. And that just sent shockwaves through our team because we're playing our better players and we're getting nowhere. They're bringing on little youths and having fun. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's clever from Klopp. I do see that as well.
Matt and Cavs, where you like?
What you lot saying about Jorginho? That was the reason. Jorginho was the reason.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's true
though. Ahead of the game.
We saw it at Liverpool. The first game, what was it? The first league game. We saw it recently in Newcastle as well. Porto was missing. It doesn't work. Yep. Rice needs Jorginho there. Whilst Partey's not there, Jorginho has to play with him. Rice, what we call this expressive, but Jorginho, honestly, he's He's so important to our system. He reminds me of like a Busquets, like how Busquets gets to play start at Barcelona. That's what Jorginho does. We miss him too much. Like, he's so important to us. I don't think people really understand. But it happens. We lost 1-0. Same feeling as the Lens game. I feel like we're going to take them back to the Emirates and just. I think we're going to handle them. I think we're going to.
I hope so.
I hope so. I'm praying because Twitter's going to be a hell if we don't. But.
Yeah,
you saw how it was when we lost in dramatic fashion. You lot saw it yourselves, man. People are praying on our downfall, man.
Praying on it. I'm seeing people wanting that. You know what I mean? Makes people's day. But instead, we got the victory and Man United lost. You know what I mean? So
I didn't want to throw any more Man United strays, but that was the first set of fans I was thinking of with that one. I can't lie.
It's got to happen.
Yeah, no. In terms of that Porto game, man, I think we just kind of the boys looked a bit frightened, man. It's like they know, you know, they're on the big stage performing in front of the world, and it's like in the Premier League, it's less pressure in it. So, you know, like yesterday's performance, you could take your foot off a bit, move the ball around freely, and just have fun with it. Against Porto, I felt like Matt said, Jorginho is a vital part of that team, especially in the big games. If Partey's not about, Jorginho, especially in the big games, he has to be next to Rice.
Do you think that's down to his age? Do you think that's the age? Because the team's very young, and in the Porto game, it did show. It showed like they haven't been there before. You know what I mean? Everything was a bit panicky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think Jorginho does, when he's in this team, he brings that, I've been here. You know what I mean? I've done this. You know, and we need more of that. But yeah, I agree with you, bro.
Yeah, I'm with you lot with that, man. Like, for me, I don't know with the experience thing, because I think it's definitely a factor. We definitely look nervous and stuff. But then I ask myself, like, at the end of the day, I know it's Champions League and you ain't been in the quarterfinals before, but a lot of you have played a lot of games. A lot of you have played in the Europa League. You know, you look at Declan Rice, you've played in, not to single anyone out, but you've played in the Conference League. You're all professional footballers, so you've all played in hostile environments. So I guess the question I'm asking is, how far does that excuse go then?
No, do you know what it is more than anything? I think it is a little bit of naivety, because we've not been in a situation where the dark arts have been used against us. And I mean perfectly used against us. In terms of throwing bodies in there, throwing, like, you know, giving the referee every excuse to blow the whistle. We didn't navigate that. We weren't able to, you know, Jorginho, for example, actually not even Thomas Partey, I'd say Jorginho, Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, I'd say even to a degree Timbers actually improves that, because they've kind of been in those situations where they've had to use the dark arts in their favor because they've been in underdog situations. Whereas we went in there, I think, with too much confidence, thinking our way was going to work. And this is where I do criticize you over as well, or whoever the set piece instructor is going to be in this case, is that we kept trying it. We were like hoping it happened, but it was like the seventh corner. It's like, try something different. Ben White is being blocked off here. Just do something different. You know, when we played against United, for example, we kept whipping it into the far post. We didn't really pressure Onana, but Declan Rice, it eventually worked because it was working. This time it was the opposite. We weren't getting any success, but we wanted to keep trying it. It was a madness for me.
Do you lot think? Go on. Oh, see, I thought I was talking over someone. So now I wanted to kind of continue this chat with you lot. Yeah, like for me, I rate Mikel Arteta. I don't know if he's the guy. I think the conversation has shifted from, you know, you're doing this rebuild thing, great. The conversation now is, can you win us or deliver us major titles? And I think Mikel Arteta is a great planner. Like, the man can plan for stuff individually and collectively. I'm not going to quite go as far as to say he's got no plan B or he can't react to spanners in the works. But against Porto, for as much as I think we played into their hands, and what you lot are saying with the referee, and do you lot feel like Mikel Arteta has a plan B in general in games? Like, is there a way out when things don't go wrong? Because some fans would say it doesn't feel that's the case. It's plan A or the highway sort of thing.
Sometimes I think he's a bit lacking in the substitutions and what timings he makes them. Like, so that makes me think he don't have a plan B. I think the plan A is plan A, and we'll rotate in the game. Do you know what I mean? Our plan B is part of our plan A. You know what I mean? If they're doubling up on little Chile on this side, we're going down the left side. You know what I mean? But I'm not too sure. What's your thoughts on it? Like,
I think he's got plan Bs, but I don't think he's got I don't think it's a major thing. And I almost rate a manager that sticks to their profiles. But at the same time, I personally find myself asking, obviously Arteta's designed the squad, but it's like, what can you really do? Like against Porto, I think the obvious one was Jorginho. I was crying from him. I watched along to come on. He came on, he was crap. I have to hold my hands up. But it just felt like square pegs in round holes. Like in the Porto game, I feel we all know Kai Havertz in terms of build-up play, it's meaty. So we make him do that third man run. If we're not trying to hit him, then he's out of the game. Kirill, he's obviously good, but he's in terms of cutting in and inverting, he's very limited. So in build-up, you're almost playing with 9 players. And when they've got that mid-block, for me, we're playing into their hands. And I think it comes back to recruitment in the summer. Like Kai Havertz looks like he's finding his feet. But I think we need that younger Jorginho model. Like we'll get into the Newcastle game, but is there any coincidence? Declan Rice is on the left-hand side. We're seeing more out of Kirill or Martinelli. Jorginho's conducting, Odegaard's conducting, Saka is higher up the field. I just think Arteta has to sign up for certain results and certain game situations when we haven't addressed everything we need to address, man.
He got rid of his plan B. That's the problem. He had Nicola Pepe, who was definitely a plan B for him. Every single time we were under the cosh, for example, the Wolves game when we turned it around and made it 3-2, he turned it into a 3-5-2, the famous holding, when he kept doing that to people. We've seen this before. He had a plan B, but what he's not realised is as much as Pep at his time at Man City didn't occupy a plan B either, he had Jesus, Aguero, who were fairly similar. But now when you're seeing the evolution of Pep, he's brought in Grealish and Doku, who are completely different profiles and players. He's gotten rid of the likes of Riyad Mahrez because he's realised that that's not going to work for him anymore. And I feel like Arteta needs to evolve and understand that there are profiles that are going to change games, and he needs to adapt to that. Having an Ivan Toney, for example, or someone like a target man is a completely different profile, but he's using Eddie Nketiah in that way. And I'm like, that's not going to work. Eddie Nketiah isn't a target man. He's more of a fox in the box. I put him in the 9-yard box and he'll probably score something. And I feel like it's annoying because I don't want to keep giving him the excuse that he's a young manager, he's learning, because we're Arsenal Football Club and we've got the squad that can win today. And how long can we give Arteta to learn these mistakes? He has evolved every season, but it's like I'm willing to give him one more season to get it right, but he needs to get that plan.
In the Champions League, I give Arteta the bly, innit? In the league, he's got it pretty much locked. We're smashing teams, high scores. We're moving positively in the Prem. We've never been in the Champions League with Arteta and these young players, yeah? And I think it's almost a different game. Like, cup football, Champions League, I think if you get your team selection wrong, it's going to go wrong for you, innit? And I think not having Jesus, because Jesus is... We complain a lot about him dropping on the floor and winning free kicks, but
you need
in Champions League, games, man. That's what you need. Everyone should be doing it because that's what they're doing. They smothered us with that. And then we got frustrated and we couldn't do nothing about it because we've never been in that situation. But I feel like, for me, it was a player selection thing. If Jesus is injured, he's injured. Nothing you could do about it. But I just feel, he didn't really make subs like that too much in the Porto game. But my opinion is just
back to you though.
Different.
What about the Europa League? Because for me, I get it. The Europa League and the Champions League are two different kettles, but you can get a lot of experience out of the Europa League in terms of understanding that Europe is different.
We suffer in Europa as well, though. We ain't won that.
But isn't that something for Arteta to address them? Because I do feel when you look at Olympiacos, Villarreal, there's defo another game, and obviously what we face ourselves with Porto, I wouldn't say there's a naivety, but that's sort of like a mark on your sort of checklist. As I said, I personally think the conversation now is moving to if Mikel Arteta can do this, and I don't know where you lot are at, because it's a bit of a difficult one with Arteta because the trajectory is good, we're moving in the right way, but at the same time, it is a results-driven business. So how long do we ask questions of Mikel Arteta before either a plug is pulled or certain changes have to be made?
Let me say one thing before everyone else chips in. I'm going to say one thing. If Arteta was at a different club and he done what he done now, do you know what I mean? I think we'd be looking for a man like Arteta. We'd have a dead manager, would be hating life in 8th, looking for Mikel Arteta. You know what I mean? Sometimes grass ain't always greener. Look at Man United. Look how many managers they've gone through. Chelsea, managers. Liverpool, they've managed to hold Klopp. And Klopp's dusting this year. So they're going to be in it again. I think holding on to your... It's a weird one. That's my little twopence and that. What you man think saying?
Yeah, man, where you at with it?
You're giving till next season, man. I feel like, you know, we talk about this phase thing that we're in. For me, I feel like we're at phase 4 at the moment. I feel like the sign on the habits for us all back. Like before that, we thought like our window was going well. That side didn't come. We were like
Spanner. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like this summer's the one where we're looking. We're gonna have Timber fit. You know, Partey will probably go, but Tomiyasu's there. Like this, if they stay fit, we have a great team. We're just a striker away. Like DG was saying, someone in that position that was a bit more younger, dynamic, I think would be fantastic. Because by losing these fullbacks, Kivio at left back, we lose something there. We miss Timber. You know, we missed Partey in midfield as well. So we're nearly there. It's so frustrating with Arsenal. It's always, we're nearly, we're almost. We're never like, this seems like this summer, I'm like, just go and do it. Like, no more of this, that type of sign. I want them game changers, man. Because we're, like you said, Klopp's going. City have got these players getting older. What, De Bruyne's 32, 33, breaking down, should I say now? Yeah. And we're so close, man. I'm looking at us from, last season we played more dynamic football. We're not conceding shots now.
They're a lot more street smart this year, to a degree.
Now we're being clinical. So I'm like, just add smartly in the summer. And honestly, I'm so excited for what we can do. But I'm not going to lie, I will be Arteta out if we don't do well in this. This window is so important. Like, I'm really, this is the one for me.
No, it's definitely, this window is definitely important. It's crucial. It's absolutely crucial. And like we're saying, if we can get in a proper finisher, a Tony maybe, even Zubamendi, I don't know how much you guys know about him, but talking about a younger, version of kind of Jorginho that fits that profile, Zubamendi, he's a perfect example. I'm not sure about the left back position. I don't know if I can see, I don't know about your lot's opinion. I don't know if I can see Zinni really coming back and holding that down personally.
Tommy and Timber are fit, then Zinni, I don't know, man. When the sun's shining at the Emirates, you can play, but boy, I don't know. I'm not sure, man. I want to see strong 1v1 defenders personally, man, to answer your question for me.
I think Zinni goes midfield. I think that's the plan. I think El Neni will probably go off and do his coaching, whatever. Partey will go. I think we'll put Zinni in, and it'll be one of them where he's coming off the bench every now and then. In like DG said, certain games where it's shining at the Emirates, Palace at home, them time.
Yeah, that's Zinni's bread and butter for me, man.
You know what I mean? But other than that,
that's long. But what do you guys think about when Timber comes back? Where are you fitting in Timber? Because obviously I know he was
in there. You know what I'm saying?
What position though? Because I think wasn't he originally bought to kind of play that Ben White? What Ben White's doing now, that whole inverted thing? Wasn't Timber bought like for that? So what does that leave?
No, do you know what I genuinely think was meant to be the plan was Timbers was meant to come in left back, Partey was meant to invert from the right, like he did in many of the previous games as well. Even last season in the last 7, we were meant to overload with Partey and Rice being a double pivot and playing like a sort of a makeshift 3-back. But obviously that's with his injury, it's kind of folded the plan a little bit. But you can see it from like the Nottingham Forest game. A lot of people didn't agree because we don't really have the squad just yet to actually implement that football. But that's how I see Timbers coming in, and hence why you've seen Gabriel kind of not being played as much at the beginning because he needed to have a rethink about how he wanted to play. So that's personally what I think, but a lot of people do disagree. It seems every time you say Partey's going to be inverting from right.
It's an interesting one, man. I'd say right now on paper, Timber's going to kind of continue where you started your Arsenal career at left back, but you never know, man. Like, there's scenario. I think Benjamin White's actually reacted very well to Timber coming into the club. There's a reality where it could be Benjamin White and Timber. Tomiyasu comes into the mix. Arteta might even have a new plan because where you look at Timber and Tomiyasu, they're both probably the most comfortable fullbacks at left and right back. So maybe I'm thinking too much ahead, but maybe there's scope for in games for them changing. It all depends on who's fit for me and the game dynamics and stuff like that. But I always say it on my vids. I think fans need to remember it's a squad game. As you're seeing with Liverpool playing them kids today, whether Klopp wanted to do it or not, we've been dealing with injuries since August. I would say on paper for me, Timber, you don't walk back into left back, but you and Tomiyasu are the ones really because you're stronger 1v1. As much as I like Zinchenko, if we've got that Jorginho in the middle of the park, I'm not against an inverted fullback, but there's less an emphasis on them pros weighing the cons to someone like Zinchenko's game really. And there's been times last season, even times like against Porto, I like Zinchenko, I'm not dissing him, but I shouldn't be saying we're not creating because we have not got our left back. I know it's a simple way of looking at it, but I think we need to just have. It's like you don't want to eat the same meal every day, innit? If there's games where you need Zinchenko and someone else, fair enough. But I just think it all comes back to me for midfield. Like, I don't even know between striker and midfield which one I think is more important. Obviously, we all need a striker that gets 20 odd goals, but I think we're missing a trick personally, not fixing our central midfield, man. So I'd say Timber left back, really, but who knows?
Yeah.
You know, controversially, right? Ben White's made me realise that Zinchenko's not even good at inverting. I know that sounds crazy to say, but
you might have to explain that one. Still, that was hard.
Going forward, I agree, but defense.
No. But think about it. So Ben White in the last sort of 5 to 7 games has been the one inverting, and guess what? We've only conceded 6 shots on target in our last 5. Has that been a problem? Every time Zinchenko inverts, guess what happens? We concede.
Yeah, they target
we've conceded less shots on target. We're conceding less shots overall. We've had 3 clean sheets. And guess what? Zinchenko's not here, and we've scored more goals in our last 5 games than when Zinchenko's been here. And also Ben White's locked down his side. So the reason why I say it is because, yes, Zinchenko brings elements into the midfield, but if he plays in midfield, that's when he's perfect. But if you want to play him sort of inverting, let's be honest, are we confident he's going to keep a clean sheet when he's inverting? Or are we more confident right now?
Zinni's just unfortunately a target, man. Like, you look at Arsenal's strongest team, if Zinni's playing, that's the one you're going to get change out of, really. Whether you pop it over his head, get at the spaces he leaves or targets him, man. I just think it comes with the territory. Like, he's a left back out of convenience, really, rather than by design.
You see it every game. That's where they go, innit? They're like, yep, Zinni's over there, send it.
That's where we're getting change from, yeah.
We're going down there, you know.
So why do you lot not think Zinchenko hasn't organically started in midfield then? Because he runs in there anyways. Why hasn't he organically started in that left 8 where I know Havertz has kind of found his feet, give or take, playing there among other areas, but Zinni's never started next to a Rice, for example, and that was him. He's a centre mid by trade. Why don't you lot feel Arteta hasn't gone with that?
Maybe he needs more security from his midfield, you know what I mean? But he's playing him left back, so that's not very secure, you know what I mean? So I got no idea, to be honest.
Going back to the Porto game, go on. Before I go back to
kind of a point. I feel like when Zinni goes in there, it's just not protection. I think as much as we can talk about Havertz, he does bring that physical presence in that position. And against certain teams, it works. And we have the options then, all right, cool, go up top now. And he is our plan B. We spoke about plan B. He's that guy, hoof it up. And listen, when he's up there, we rarely lose the second ball. I've been watching a lot of games. We literally round him, get the ball, and he is effective. So, yeah, I think Zinni, I don't want to see him in there, like you said, unless it's them days at home, Burnley, Sheffield United at the Emirates. That's it. That's the only time I want to see him there.
I mean, on the ball, Zinni's got the quality, but it's like, if I've got questions about you at left back switching off, because that's not by you by trade, then obviously in the middle of the park, you know, it's not glamorous, but there's a lot of dirty work that has to be done, or there's going to be a lot of gaps. I don't know if Mikel Arteta's got concerns over that, but you never know. We could be sitting here a year from now and Zinni's playing in midfield and this never happened, really. So it's a difficult one. Going back to the Porto game, do you lot feel, because this has been a lot of things people have said about Arsenal, and it's on screen, I've left it there for a while. Do you lot feel Arteta played for a draw over there? I disagree personally, but what's you lot's thoughts?
I think midway through the game he did, didn't it? I think it changed. He went there thinking we're going to smash them. It didn't go to plan. And then he was like, do you know what? Back to the Emirates, innit? Because we were playing like it, you know what I mean? He wasn't making, I can't remember him making proactive subs and trying to switch things up to force a win. We were just keeping it same. And yeah, that's how I seen it anyway. I don't know how you lot saw it.
And that's what it is. Because it was like we were saying earlier, because in that game there seemed to be no plan B, so to speak. I think when it got to about that 70th minute mark, he was like, listen, we can't break them down. I think the instructions were just keep it tight and we hold on to it. If we get something, we get something. But, you know, we just hold on to what we got, go back home, and we win it there. It's unfortunate, obviously, the last goal. I don't know if you guys have spoken about, you know, a lot of people saying it was Rice's fault, Raya's fault for not being on his line. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Raya's fault for me.
How's the Raya at fault? It was a good strike.
It was a good strike. Yeah.
For me, it was a good strike.
it was a good strike, but I'm looking at the position. And he's right. He's always ready to cut. I get it. But I just think that one, another goalkeeper saves that. That's just my personal belief anyway.
I want to say it's his mistake, though. Yes, he should have saved it. But there was a lot of other bozo moments before that even happened that we shouldn't have really happened. But
for me, really,
on the question of like the Porto, I think he initially wanted to win the game because he wouldn't have played Trossard and Havertz the way that we have been playing the last sort of 3 to 4 games prior to it. But he eventually settled for it, realizing that he's been outplayed. And I do genuinely think he thought he's outplayed. Otherwise, Jorginho is not your only substitution. He would have bought an Ethan Nwari thinking that, you know what, I can change this game. He would have bought a Reece Nelson, and like he has done in previous encounters. And Eddie Nketiah all of a sudden isn't playing. Like, for me, I feel like he's become risk adverse again. And this is a pre-2024 Arsenal where we wanted to control the game. We wanted to just get out there with a 1-0, go there, just do what we can. If we score, we score. If we don't, we come out with it and we take him back at the Emirates. Don't get it twisted. I think at the Emirates we battered him, but he should have done more, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Yes, she was going to say something. No, okay. For me, boy, I don't know, man. It's an interesting one. I agree with your point, and you lot are making me look at it differently. I think obviously when you go out there, you want to win. I don't think Mikel Arteta sets us up to necessarily draw and things like that. Obviously, as the way the game transpired, obviously you would have taken a point and you start to think about stuff. I do agree with the point about, it looked like he probably just said, you know what, it's not our day collectively and individually. In relation to the goal we conceded, I'm not sure. I think it's a series of errors because just before that, we've given the ball away like 3 times in a stupid area with the game running down. And we all know Champions League, it is about tactics. It is about all of that sort of stuff. But at the same time, it comes down to moments, when take nothing away from Real Madrid, for example, but they've really won that Champions League on moments. It ain't been a tactics thing. It's just been the quality. And I think that shows me the naivety and the levels we need to kind of go up. In relation to who I personally blame, I think it's a series of errors because we're playing around in an area we don't. Martinelli, if that pass comes off and we have a counter attack, I'm praising him. Unfortunately, he's giving the ball away. I do think Rice and someone else could have got closer and closed down the man. And I don't think Rice's positioning is the best, but I will give the keeper the luxury of, they say your keeper's your last line of defense, isn't it? So I just think it's a series of errors, if I'm honest with you. And the whole team has to take responsibility because even if we blame Raya, like for the other 90 minutes, like what were the other man them doing? If all of them could say they was playing amazing, fair enough. Like I feel Odegaard was the only one that I would say, yeah, you kind of play to your expectation levels. Everyone else was kind of wanting more. And I think going into the Newcastle game, obviously the dynamics are different, but I think Arteta realized I need to change things. Jorginho coming in, obviously Declan Rice pulling out to the left, Havertz kind of being free to roam to a point. I think them things helped us. Where you lot at with the Arsenal, victory against Newcastle, man? Let me know you lot's thoughts individually and collectively about the players and everything, really, man. Because we got to be in good spirit. Bounce back well.
We spanked them. Like, it was. I feel like
still no clean sheet though, man.
Listen, that frustrated me so much. For my FPL reasons as well. But
you're not alone.
But with Newcastle, like we've seen, when you let them go ahead, and the way they set up was, if they had gone ahead at Emirates, it would have been so difficult with the lineup they had. But I feel like in the first 25, 30 minutes, they probably looked and went, "Wow, like we're done." Like Bruno Guimaraes, do you know how sweet it was to watch?
When he's not elbowing, man, he's not on nothing, man.
Listen, now I was watching some earlier. He was eating grass because I'm sure it was him at one stage. That was on the floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And honestly, it was lovely to see. And I feel like Newcastle kind of like, wow. I think they were shocked at what we did. And and that's the thing with Arsenal. When we're on top like that and we score goals, we win 99% of the games. So our main problem was before not being clinical. Now we're doing that. I was a bit concerned when we dropped Trossard. I was like, I don't know, really. And he loves Havertz, but so effective. You know what I mean? We were fantastic. And I watched it and I thought, all right, 4-0. And with Arsenal, you worry at 2-0. You think, how are they going to come out? Is it going to be one of them letting a jammy go? But no, we've got the third. And honestly, I saw it and I thought, that's what I want to see more. But I'm not getting too ahead because I know the away games we still got coming, man. And there's two specific ones that are bugging me. That United one, because no matter how good we are, United Old Trafford does something to us. And like them two there are the ones. Because I feel like we've got to go United, City got to go there, and Liverpool got to go there as well, innit? And they've got a big say on it. So that's it for me. But I'm happy with that performance, but I want to see more. Like, listen, we're Arsenal fans. We've been through the meal with them. We're not going to get too ahead of ourselves. Even though Twitter wants us to. But listen, good performance. We moved. Spanked Sheffield United 8-0 now. No, I'm like, no more jokes, fam. Ramp up the goal difference. Because again, last season in the title race, when we saw a goal difference compared to Man City, we thought already, oh, that's an extra point. Like we're out of it. Because I think they were like 15 ahead. And we kind of slowly gave up. But now we're there, man. So let's keep going.
What other post-Newcastle thoughts we got, boys?
Record-breaking Arsenal. Back-to-back 2 goals in both halves. We've got, 6 goals conceded in the 6 shots on target in the last 5 games, 25 in the last 7. We've conceded 3 clean sheets in the last sort of 5 games as well.
Statistics are sexy, man.
Yeah, like we're not just beating. The thing is, we're not beating teams. We're schooling teams, and that's the difference with this Arsenal. I've always asked, right, if we can somehow merge the 2 Arsenals, this beginning of the season Arsenal and our last season Arsenal, into one team, and we can just phase the game that way. That's what wins us the league. And that's what keeps us in this title race. It's the maturity of how we're seeing these games out. It's the fact that we can take a Saka off after 60 minutes, and he is doing it. It's not a case of, we're 2-0 up, 3-0 up, and he's like, actually, I'm going to leave Saka on and bring everyone else off. No, he's bringing Saka off as well. He's bringing the likes of Martinelli off. But it's also the fact that he is changing things up. As much as he's made mistakes against Porto, against West Ham, and against in the FA Cup against Liverpool, he's also rectified those in the league in terms of being like, you know what, Havertz in this game is better. Jorginho's better in this game. Now we can play Havertz and Trossard. We can bring Jesus into this game. He's starting to learn from his mistakes, and considering the fact that we've had 5 major injuries in Tomiyasu being out, Partey being out, Zinchenko being out, Timbers being out, and he hasn't done what he normally does, which is galaxy brain the hell out of things and overly complicate and go, now I'm going to win this because I done something stupid and like no one else understood it, so I won as the game. And now it's more of the case of just go out there, let's just do what we do, what we know, and win the game. He's no longer taking credit for the win, if that makes sense. Whereas I feel like last season when Thomas Partey's injured, he'd do some madness. I never understood it. Like you'd bring Lokonga in with El Neni, and then it's like, why did you not just bring one of them in and just keep the rest of the team the same? Or you'd like bring another player into another position to like make up for the fact that Partey's not there. And it's like, all you have to do is bring Jorginho in and like leave the rest of the team alone. But you'd always overly complicate and move positions and do something that no one understood before the game. But now he's kept it simple, played players in their position, and thank God he's not inverting Kiwior and he's telling Ben White to do that. So he's clearly learning his squad. He's learning what's right for the opposition. And I hope it continues. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah, he definitely got Arteta definitely got it right yesterday. Like I was with Matt when I because we know Trossard's been on the score sheet lately, and making that change, putting Havertz out, I was like, oof. But he got it right. And you know what? I'm not even getting too ahead of myself, but it's like the way Newcastle played, especially in that first half. It's like they had some fear. They know what we'd been doing in our previous 5 games, and you could tell the fear. It kind of reminded me back of like, back in the day with the Invincibles, the Henry kind of era where teams.
The game's won before we step on the pitch, and that.
There you go. So it's a thing where I think even the way we were playing with the flicks, the back heels, and just the runs, the intricate play, I think we had them scared. We couldn't. They were giving the ball away numerous times, making so many mistakes. They couldn't get a grip on the game. Couldn't put 4 or 5 passes together in one period. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel we had that. We just had that swagger back. Do you get what I'm saying?
You know what? On that, yeah, I want to point out 2 key moments in this season. One is in the Community Shield, and one happened yesterday. Kai Havertz and both of them, right? Ruben Diaz. Remember when City for that Community Shield were for 20 minutes straight had possession? We weren't really able to get the ball. When we got it, they got it back, and for a good 25 minutes of that first half, they ran riots. They were doing what they wanted to do. They were manipulating the ball the way they want. And Kai Havertz goes and slides into Ruben Diaz, and after that, they couldn't find their momentum again. Do you know? It's like when they say, do you know when a defender, you put a tackle in on someone and you make them know that you're there. You make your presence known. Havertz did that with Sven Botman within the first 3 minutes. The man went there and barged him off the ball. And Sven Botman was looking for a free kick, and the referee was like, nah, that set the precedence for me. And that set them like, these guys aren't here to be bullied. We can't do that. Guimaraes, and you from that very moment, he can't do that. He's not a Jesus where if you elbow him, he's going to come to the floor. Havertz is like, I'll scrap with you. Let's go. And that's what we needed more of. We needed that fight. We need, as Troy Deeney said, we needed kahunas. Like, and we're getting that now. We've got players who have got balls to go there and go, do you know what? You want a UFC fight? Let's have it.
Yeah, I think the team selection helped with that, putting Kai Havertz up top. I think it was, you know what I mean? Strength was a major factor. The fact that we're actually a strong team now, all round. Most of the midfield, defence, attack. There's not many people you can push about too much anymore and get change out of, you know what I mean? But for me, I'm just gassed because we're just smacking teams up left, right, centre. You know what I mean? Man thought it was all over. Man seen Porto. I know Eddie Howe was there trying to think of tactics and that, you know what I mean? Thought we was done. Thought we was going to come back to the league.
He showed him the Porto game, and he's like, "Yeah, just follow the blueprint."
Yeah, he's like, look, we're just gonna go out there. We're gonna smother them. We're just gonna get the job done. You know what I mean? But little did they know, we're Premier League killers, man. You know what I mean? We're out here taking scalps, 4s, 5s, 3s, Liverpool's, Cities. Anybody can get it in the Prem, and it's that real. I'm not really worried about the Prem. Newcastle just showed me like, yeah, we're that now. We're top 3 team in the Prem, innit? Regardless of what anyone says. Top 3, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. We play the best football. We smack people up. And that's it. But
so what, are we winning the league then, lads?
I'll go first on that one. We're winning it, bro. You know what I mean? Not too Champions League is a different ball game because it's different footy. But to me, the Prem, Liverpool look like injuries. Klopp's bringing out youths. You know what I mean? He's telling everyone he's leaving. He's trying to G-man up. You know what I mean? He's trying all kinds of things. He knows we're coming. You know what I mean? Man City, Pep's there. He's like, look, we're going to play the catch-up game and that. But guess what? We're playing catch-up. We're hunting them man down now. You know what I mean? And I think we're better in that position. Being the pack leaders is never fun, innit? You know what I mean? The pressure's all
last
on
year,
you.
that's why it's never fun, man. 200 odd days at the top, and then, boy, we never won it.
And you know what I mean? Everyone was preying on the downfall and that. But now we're like the underdogs. We get that underdog boost. And we're just sitting pretty. Top top goals and that. You know what I mean? Every player's on top form. That's the most important thing out of the game for me, was seeing that even the bench, man like Smith Rowe, these man are ready. They're
unlucky not to bag, man.
So unlucky, bro. He should have got a goal. I was praying for. If he got that goal, that game was a perfect game for me, innit? But he come close. He always does, innit? In games, he has his moments, yeah? You know what I mean? Where you think, Smith Rowe, you know what I mean? He's back. I'm going to hear the tune, the song. You know what I mean? Saka, Emile Smith Rowe and that. But that's the romantic side of it. But we're cooking. I'm not scared of no one in the Prem. You know what I mean?
We need that consistency guy, man. Go on, sorry.
I think just on what Sibbles was saying, physically, we've got that team now. Like, remember before with Arsenal, we'd have the little small players and you'd be like, oh, I'm going to get bullied. But you ain't bullying these men now. That you've got us 2 centre-backs. Ben White, I'm not sure how tall he is. He's definitely 6 foot plus. You've got Kivior, 6 foot plus. Like, we're now physically, they're looking at right. Arsenal ain't not just
there's giants at the Emirates now, man.
You know what I mean?
It's mentality as well. Their big mentality. You know what I mean?
That as well.
Gabriel Magalhaes.
Everyone knows that I'm Saliba, yeah. I'm Saliba's biggest fan, yeah. But Gabriel, bro, the way he is, yeah. Forwards are like, I don't want it with him, you know.
Finally
like,
getting his plaudits, man.
Salute to them, man. Salute to them.
Cabs, what was you going to say, man?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, listen, I think we can do it, but it's got to be about consistency now, and they just got to have that mentality that, you know, so when we step on the pitch, we can win it. We can beat anybody. I don't want us to be doing all this and then go to the Etihad and freeze up and then lose 3 or 4. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we have to take that mentality into every game now, thinking, you know, we can beat everyone. And it's good because, you know, seeing Partey running out on the pitch, Jesus, Tomiyasu and Timber, they still got to come back. So we still have quality players to come back. So, and it's at the right time of the season. I just hope Arteta personally, he starts coming up with the plan Bs and the plan Cs and changing up certain games. Because boy, like Matt was talking about earlier, places like Old Trafford, we could be in the best form ever. Go to Old
Yep.
Trafford. And something.
You know what time it is.
This is what I'm saying. So the mentality now has got to be different. We got to go in there. We got to start smashing these teams at these big stadiums, man. But yeah, all in all, I think we can do it, man.
I mean, go on.
So like last bit, I feel by the time we get to the Etihad game, we need a bit of a gap of some sort. So we need a united favour like this weekend coming and beat them. Like, you know, because I feel like City and them crunch games, let's be honest here, City crunch games, Etihad, they rarely falter. Like, they just liven up, everyone picks up and they batter team. So if we can go there, and I'm not saying I don't care if we lose, but where we've got a bit of a cushion, maybe 4 points, if it happens, you can kind of bounce back, then I think we're in a great place. But listen, I believe, man. I believe. Yeah, the red ribbons are ready. I believe.
Don't jinx it, man. Don't jinx it. I don't look at the league table. I think we just got to take it game by game, just work very hard and see where it takes us. I think one thing I do like, though, obviously, the players, I don't think the players pay attention to the outside noise because it doesn't help anything. 1 minute you're title contenders, then it's all doom and gloom. But in relation to us humble football fans, I do like the notion that Arsenal are third in a three-horse race sort of thing. If we can just go under the radar, just keep doing our job. I do want to ask you lot, though, because we've all touched on it indirectly with some of the comments we've made. We've said when Timber's back, when Jesus is back, when Partey's back. Now, is Arteta wrong for building his team around where these guys are key players? Because a lot of them for a couple of years have never been fit. Like, would you say Arteta's naive then? If it's been a couple of years now, these same key players are suffering with injuries, especially Partey. Could that harm us in the league? And is this something that shouldn't really be a talking point among us Arsenal fans?
I personally don't think it should be, because when you look at Man City, a lot of their key players also get injured. John Stones, for example, Kevin De Bruyne, for example, Riyad Mahrez has picked up injuries. Grealish has been out for a few games. Haaland has now been out. He's also come with an injury record. So even a lot of these managers have built teams around players who have notoriously had injury records that aren't favourable to them. But it's about when they happen and how you manage that. Because for me, Thomas Partey's been perfectly managed as long as he does actually return this season. If we don't see him all season, then I don't know what the hell's happened there. I think there's a bigger thing than an injury here. But when you look at Kevin De Bruyne, for example, he picks up his injuries at the right time. It's like he times them. Like, okay, the period where I'm not needed, I'm going to be injured. So when I come back, it's a business end of the season. And that's what's happened here. Jesus will be back. Thomas Partey will be back. Zinchenko will be back. I mean, Timbers was a bit of a freak. He's never really had an injury like this, but I kind of understand when you've got too many players that you rely on. But I feel like when you look at Liverpool as well, they've got like Van Dijk for the past few seasons. He hasn't been replaced either. Alisson's now picking up injuries and they're not looking to replace him either. So it's difficult. And I think other than Thomas Partey, the rest of them have been kind of freak incidences and just reoccurring of the same thing. But yeah, it's one of those where I think bringing in a Declan Rice, bringing in the likes of Kai Havertz, he is trying to mitigate that from being a big issue in the middle part of the season, so that when it comes to the business and he's not having to rush them back. Thomas Partey's been rushed back way too many times. Jesus, at the minute he gets even an amber light from the medical team, it's like, yeah, you're going on the next game. But now it's like he's got Kai Havertz, he's got Declan Rice. He's like, okay, I can give you two or more
kind of maneuver without them,
you in and phase you back in. Yeah.
Facts. So one of you mentioned Kai Havertz. Is Kai Havertz our first choice striker? If everybody's fit, Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, Trossard, whoever plays through the middle, is Kai Havertz our first choice forward now? Because his good moments have come when he's up front slyly. Is he our first choice or is it Jesus? Where are you at with that, man?
For me, it's Jesus, isn't it? Options.
Sewell's goes mad, man.
No, I was just saying Jesus and then options, man. That's what
I gotta ask, man. I gotta ask because I mean, Kai Havertz. It's a bit weird because it's like he's got the freedom to roam, to drop in midfield, to make them fouls, to get into handbags, to nick the ball and press. I think Havertz is an enigma because off the ball he's so good. It's just kind of on it where the quality is lacking. I do think he's in the right way. I don't know if Kai Havertz will ever convince us Arsenal fans, but we're not really talking about the 65 million. And where you look at, for example, Kovacic at City, us obviously with Kai Havertz and Man United with Mount, it's looking like we got the best deal at this moment in time. At this moment in time, it's looking like our manager's working something there, man.
Now, do you know what it is? It's horses for courses. There is a moment where I think Gabriel Jesus suits the game but they kind of have the same problems, in my opinion, in terms of when it's in front of goal. I ain't putting my house on either of them scoring. I'm just going to be like, I hope they score, but I don't know, innit?
Yeah.
Because like, when you look at Gabriel, there's moments of guilt-edged chances he's missed, but then Havertz, for example, in the Newcastle game, straight into the second half, that would have been one of the contenders for goal of the season if that gone in. But he has those moments in him where he doesn't score. But you know what? Then he has the moment where he nutmegs someone and then he puts it bottom corner. It's like, this guy is the most random footballer I've ever
He makes
come
the
across.
easy difficult and the difficult easy, man. This guy's an enigma, bro. Jesus.
I feel like Jesus would have missed that one-on-one as well, to be honest with you.
That's
what I mean?
Probably. Yeah, I even forgot Kai Havertz should have had a brace, but we allow him because he had a great game. Would you not go with Jorginho, Rice, Odegaard from now to the end of the season as the midfield three, assuming Thomas Partey is not about, because he's the only one that really puts a spanner in the works? I don't know for Jorginho's fitness because he does pick up knocks himself.
No. For me personally, I think I don't know. I think obviously Sheffield United next, not particularly. I think the bigger games when you're going away to like the Etihad and Old Traffords and Champions League, yes, I'd manage it that way personally. And in the lesser games, then he can sit down. I want to see Smith Rowe get more game time as well.
Same, but I give up, man. I've given up, man. I see the defeat, man. Like, I've tried, man. It looks like it's the beginning of the end. I want to be wrong. It's been real, man. It's been real.
Exactly. But what about because I was gonna ask, do you think Reece Nelson brings anything to the team?
I'll let you go first.
You lot take the floor, man.
It's not that I don't. I just look at Reece, and you know the problem. My problem is, right, when we take off Saka, we put Reece or wherever side it goes on. I look at other wingers, and I feel like I'm so gassed by when I look at Palace. I hate Palace because I look at them and I see like Elise or whatever, and I feel like I want more from Reece because I feel Reece is capable of a lot. Like he has them good games, and sometimes I feel like he's not doing enough. And I don't know whether he wants to stay or whatever, but I'm like, he's got the speed, he's got skill. Like I get so frustrated with him. And again, like Emil Smith, I love. DG knows, man. I tried to defend ESR as well.
We've tried, man.
You know what I mean? Like, he's so frustrating as well because I'm like, I know you've got it. And you probably go somewhere else and ball out. Like I can see like a Villa move or somewhere there. And we're gonna be like,
still being linked with them kind of clubs, so there must be some quality in the lad, man.
But it's just like I don't know. It's just not enough. It's just not enough. But yeah, I'm a fan of Reece. And Eddie's the one, but we'll get into him another. Eddie's the one that can make moves.
Yeah, don't mention Eddie if you don't want a negative stream. But
for me, he's the same bracket. It's the same bracket as
no. That's disrespectful, man.
They're both at that one tier below.
No,
blowing. You know what I mean?
No, Eddie Kenny is off the stream. At least Reece Nelson makes the screen. But anyways, on Reece Nelson, yeah, the man's a baller, straight up baller. Yeah, the guy's got quality. You know what it is with me, right? Like, I love Saka, but for some games, right, he becomes predictable. You know he's going to cut in, and sometimes he does it really well, where he can actually score, like he did against Newcastle. But Reece Nelson, yeah, he's a different breed of a winger. The guy will take you on. He will face you up and go, "I'm going to take you." And that's sometimes what we need. I think that was what we needed against Porto. We just needed someone to get that ball and just. We don't even know what you're going to do. Are you going to score? Are you going to take him on? You're not going. I want to be confused. And that's the problem with Saka. I'm not confused. I'm like, it's like reading a book, but he's really good at it. Like you still have a plot twist with Saka, but you sometimes know what's going to come next. Whereas with Reece Nelson, I'm like, why is he gone to chapter 10 and now back to chapter 8? It's like, damn, okay, this guy's just doing something. And that's what I want. And I love that in a winger.
Are they match starters though? Are you starting Reece Nelson?
They don't have to be. You don't need.
But that's what I'm saying, isn't it? If you want to class Reece and the Smith, if you want them to get into that top level,
Smith Rowe starter. Come on, man, let's not do this.
You know what I mean? They need to be in the convo of starting. They're not. They're just bench mans.
No, Smith can start. Reece Nelson, I agree.
It's a techie one, man. Like with Reece, it's a techie one because he's another one that I feel. I know Reece Nelson, he's come right out the academy. Arteta likes you. You know, you have had your little fan favorite moments, the Bournemouth goals. But I'm at that point now where I think if it's not going to happen here, you probably need to go somewhere that you're near enough guaranteed to play 5 or 10 games in a row. Because I personally want a winger in the summer, and I want it to be a thing where, like, if you go back a few weeks ago where Martinelli, Trossard, and Saka were struggling, maybe if you had, we're not going to get him, but a Pedro Neto or someone that Arteta is more convinced on, maybe there's more of a willingness to pull one out. And ultimately, competition. Obviously, we all know there's a golfing class between Reece Nelson and Saka. I think they're happy here. I think they're happy to be part of the squad. Obviously, we have to keep some of these English players, but Nelson could be one that's potentially sold. If we get another winger, or even if we get a striker and Arteta says, boom, you know what, Jesus, you're playing out wide, that's even less game time. And Nelson needs to stay fit. He picks up a couple of knocks as well, which I think has damaged his progress to a bit, man. I like him, though. I badly want it to happen, but I'm at that point. If I want Arsenal to go where we need to go, we need that striker that's going to be in the conversations. We need that winger that can help pull this thing over with goals. We need that centre mid. And we respectfully, we've seen people like Kieran Tierney, Ramsdale, players that have been more key players. The system has left them, time's left them. So it's business as usual. We probably need to stop being sentimental, including myself. Like, that's why I think with Smith Rowe, it's peak, because I would have thought he would have been given an opportunity off that left where, on the right-hand side, it's all Saka's. Left-hand side is kind of open season. It may be in Mikel Arteta's mind, it's either Smith Rowe, you're going to show me you can play in the 8, or it's a myth. But I think it's the beginning of the end for Nelson and Nketiah. Unless there's an upgrade, you have to keep it moving.
Yeah, do you know what Smith Rowe, right? It kind of reminds me of the Martinelli situation, where Martinelli, when he got his major injury, came back, he played a few games, but then was out of the firing line. A lot of people said Martinelli and Arteta have definitely had a falling out. He's going to be sold, because we didn't see him for a very long time, and we were
said
being
that about
told
Saliba as well.
Yeah. So, like, for me, I feel like Smith Rowe's getting enough opportunities and enough game time off the bench just to be like, I'm going to ease you back in this season. I want you to learn the role, and I'm going to give you these little minutes to go there and actually show what you can do. And I think even against the Newcastle, the little cameos he's had, he's doing enough to show that he can do it, given more consistent game time.
2 years left on his deal, though. Surely the club got to be talking about a new contract or not. Like, I don't know, man.
But don't forget, Saliba signed a new contract despite how many loan moves he's had. So there could be a madness in the background. Look at Ramsdale. Ramsdale isn't kicking up a fuss. I think Arteta's had conversation with these players and said, look, this is your development plan. This is how you're going to get back into the first team. If you prove it, like he did with Saliba, like he's done with many other players where he's ignored them, he's wanted to see their personalities come out and see how they react to adversity. And I think that's what's happening with Smith Rowe. Like, how do you react if I tell you you're not going to play this season as much as you'd want to, but I've got a development plan for you? And that's what I think he's doing. He's testing him.
Yeah, fair. So where you lot with Nketiah? Because to be fair to Eddie, there has been times he's forced his way into the lineup. There has been a bit of an improvement, but arguably, our striker isn't our most clinical person. So clearly goes on everything to Mikel Arteta up front. Kai Havertz, who really we don't know his position, is preferred ahead of you. You've got Jesus and you've got Trossard. Like, is it time to sell Eddie Nketiah? Do you lot think he could have a role here? I'm probably trying to fight his case more than others. Based on you lot's faces, it looks like everyone's in agreement with Eddie Nketiah slightly, but you lot speak, man.
It depends. If you're talking from getting that main striker point of view, get rid of him, innit? But if you're talking from spread the goals around the team and rotation, he's a good little squad player, innit? He could do multiple things, but who knows?
I don't know. I think he's had his time. He's had his chances. I think now's the time to cash in. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I was saying keep Balogun, get rid of Eddie. That's where I was kind of standing at that point. I think it's time for Eddie to go, man. If we're gonna go to that elite level, the next level that we want to and win titles and stuff, we need to upgrade massively in that department.
And that's the thing, man. With someone like Eddie Nketiah, even I'm just saying names, but where you look at Kirill, who's doing his thing, Eddie Nketiah, Reece Nelson, Smith Rowe, regardless if they're playing or their stock's fallen, again, being linked isn't clubs trying to buy these players, but there's interest, and we're probably going to spend about another 200 odd million. We're going to have to get some outgoing. So I want to see us hustle. Eddie's been linked with a couple of clubs. He was the early days in January, he was linked with the Palaces and whatnot of this world. I don't know if being on 100 bags a week, wearing the number 14, I do like his mentality. He doesn't kick up a fuss. I don't know if he'll try and force his way out the door. So Eddie Nketiah is a bit of a peculiar one, man.
It might be better for his career to move on. Like
100% it is, bro.
It's
and all of
better
them
for
that
our
made-
careers he moves on. It's better for us fans. Sanity he moves on. It's better
but
for
not just
everyone.
us, for them. You know what I mean? Their career
bro.
and that their progress in the game. I feel
You're not
like
gonna get another
certain
England
players
cap
need
if
that.
you don't leave. Like, go and play
He
football.
ain't. I don't feel
He
like
ain't
he's
good
gonna do
enough
it
for
here
England cap.
either. You know what I mean?
If you
Do you
can't
know what?
start 10 games here, it's a myth, man, in my opinion.
I think we've got to let him go. Get some decent money. And like, it was so funny. We were all like Balogun and Ketia. We let Balogun go. Doing that one at Monaco. Eddie's gonna go. As DJ was saying, getting the 14 and all of that. I rate it, but it's just not the one. And I think he does need to move. And he'll probably go somewhere and do well. But no more time for sentiment. We're at phase 4 now. I ain't got time for players where it's like, oh, know what they came through Hayland.
What is phase 4 for you? Because you've mentioned it twice, just if people in the chat don't know what you're referring to.
That's why.
I heard on social media and I was like, what is it? But you look at what Arteta were trying, the process, right? We've got the defense, we've got the Timber, the inverted left back, right back, where we've got a ball playing goalkeeper. I doubted Raya, but he's doing his bit now. Cool. We sold Xhaka and I thought, all right, cool, we're going to do midfield. But we've got Rice in. Rice is the game changer where it's like, bro, we can play games now and we can depend on Declan Rice to shield the back four. And that little triangle, we've got Saliba, Gabriel and Rice. I feel like we need that to beat the Liverpools, the Man Cities, the Man Uniteds, which is what we've been doing. I feel phase 5 now is where it's clinical striker, fill up that position where the Havertz, we have the doubt, and just keep the players fit. I think that literally latched into a Zubimendi, maybe. I'd never watched a lot of him, so I'm not going to sit here and say I know, but what I've seen, he would be perfect in that position. Then put your clinical striker, who I don't know who we're going to get for that, and we're good. Like honestly, I really feel like if we can do that, next season I'll sit here and go, who's beating us? We're going to win the league. We'll win it next season. Maybe Champions
Is that guy being serious? Nah, that guy's a troll.
Listen, no, listen. I'm not reading the bottom comments because someone put Luzi, Iwobi, and Willock over Smith Rowe and Ketia, and no, that's when I.
That's because they banged. I think they all banged this weekend.
Yeah, innit?
Luzi, old celebration as well.
Who starts for you? Like, just to answer this question, who starts at left back if everybody's fit for you? I'm screaming Timber personally.
Same Timber.
Yeah, Timber.
There you have that. I want to speak about Martinelli to you guys. Like, is it something to be concerned? Now, obviously, I think he got an assist against Burnley. I think yesterday it was more of a positive game from him, but there's still no goal. Like, it was a great run for Havertz's goal, by the way. Where are you at with Martinelli? Should he be dropped? Are you not concerned? Like, should Trossard come in for him? Where are you at with Martinelli?
Slightly concerned, because do you know what? He's doing a lot of cutting in lately. I like him when he was, taking on players, like we were talking about earlier, about taking on the fullbacks. He doesn't seem to do it anymore. I don't know. Last season, he was a lot better than he was this season. We know that. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what, but go on.
I was going to ask, do you think there's a correlation between Kai Havertz not really replacing what Xhaka was doing? We've had a couple of left backs. Do you think these things are affecting Martinelli in his defense, even though he has to do better for himself?
You know what? You could be right on that.
Because yesterday was the first time I felt for a large period of that game. We actually looked more threatening off the left. I know Saka did his thing, sent my man out for a bagel, but we actually looked quite threatening down that left, and I haven't seen that in a while or as consistently.
Yeah.
All the goal kicks were going to the left side of the pitch.
This is what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? I just feel like he's the chaos king, innit? And like we were saying with Saka's a bit predictable, Martinelli's not. You know what I mean? He is a little bit like going down the wing, but he's looking at the floor. You know what I'm saying? And he's going. And I think it's part of his game not to be so consistent, but he brings that element of we don't know what's gonna, you know what I mean, a threat, a different type of threat. But I think you're right. The fact that Zinni's been left back, we've had all this stuff going on with the left side. I think that's put a hindrance on him. You know what I mean? Saka gets Ben White pretty much every
with Odegaard as well, yeah.
Odegaard, they all know what they're doing. They all know how to play. You know what I mean? I think it's slightly different on the left side.
I think there's one of two things. Right. I think his role in the team has changed in terms of he's no longer closer to goal to begin with.
Yeah.
When you see him sort of last season, Jesus was the one that's actually playing as a winger, and Martinelli would be in and around the box. That's one thing I think that's changed. But also the second thing is he doesn't favor himself in a way, because like someone mentioned, he doesn't look up enough. Like Zinchenko's in a perfect place to play like a 1-2, get out of a situation. That's where I think both our wingers are kind of predictable. Even though you don't know what Martin's going to do in terms of going in or out, but he's going to try and take the man on every single time rather than use the players around him. Like Havertz is in brilliant positions. Zinchenko can find himself in a good position, and he won't really pass to them and then make these little 1-2 integrate passes. It'll be like, nah, I'm going to try and take him on every single time. And he overcomplicates it for himself. And then when he does cross the ball, it's like, did you look up to see if anyone was even there to begin with, or where that player was to go for a cutback, to go for a cross, to float the ball in? I feel like he's a striker for me. I've always said this. Martinelli is a bona fide striker. He's not a winger. He doesn't have the instinctual things of a winger. So I just think play him as an inside forward and everything comes together for him.
I think he's better when he don't have time to think, man. I think this time, I think Martinelli's a guy when he's too clouded and there's too many things for him, he's poor. I think when he just has to make quick decisions, like even the goal where he set up for Kai Havertz, he's made that run because he knows Jorginho's going to find him. He's pulled it in the area. Kai Havertz, one thing that man has is being intelligent. And I haven't seen Saka as well to a degree, but I haven't seen us just like last season. The theme was Martinelli in behind, he's scoring, a bit like the goal disallowed against Man United. I just think Martinelli's thinking too much, man. But I back him. If we were to sell him, how much do you reckon we get for him? Because this comment is something people keep saying. Martinelli could be one that could be sacrificed. I'm screaming 80 to 100 with some of these guys that got him for more, but Anthony went for that price.
If Havertz is 65, Martinelli is,
and he's 22 as well, or something like that.
Everything.
Neymar went for 222 million. I'm going at least 350 here. I'll price him out of him if he ain't leaving. I'm telling you, play him as a striker. He's done. It's done. Your numbers that he brings, he's the striker we've always wanted.
Yeah.
He needs that.
That's exactly what I said earlier in the season.
Bandage Martinelli, was a boss, bro. When he had
He needs to remember himself again.
Honestly, absolute boss. And I don't know about you lot, but I feel like when we had that, I'm weird with these little things. That black kit, when we had that thing here. I felt, listen, what? Even at Anfield, we were 2-0 up in like 20. Nah, don't piss me off.
We were different.
Yeah, look, there we go.
Got the uniform's on point. I just got my last question. Go on.
I just wanted a quick question. That's cool. Obviously, in terms of the youngsters, right? I know we're talking about we might spend 200 plus in the summer, but in terms of the youngsters we got, like the Waneries and the Cozier Dubries and those kind of raw waters, how are we feeling about those guys? Because they're going to be pushed back even further if we do big business in the window. So are we at the point where we're just going to keep losing all our talented youngsters?
The better we get, the less chances. Honestly, if I'm Cozier, Dubry and Waters, a lot could change. But if I'm Waters in particular, I'm cutting. Like, it's nothing personal. It's just business. You can play centre back, left back, and right back. Fit players. Zinchenko's ahead of you. Tomiyasu's ahead of you. Timber's ahead of you. Kyrgios now ahead of you. On paper, Tierney is still there. I'm not necessarily criticizing Mikel Arteta for not playing them, but when we beat PSV and we battered someone and Cedric came off the bench, Waters is not involved. So that with 6 months left running on your deal, you need to ask yourself, if I sign a new contract, what's the progression? Am I going out on loan, or do I back myself to go, like, take a step backwards to come back? I think when you look at Ethan and Miles, they're slightly younger, so they're all right. Cozier, Dubry, he's got interest from a number of clubs, and it's another one because Nelson's ahead of you. If Jesus plays out wide, he's ahead of you. You got Trossard and them man there. We might bring in a winger. So if I'm them, I've got a lot to consider. Like, I've got 6 months left on my deal. Honestly, if I'm them, I'm not rushing to sign a new deal. And I think they're at that age now where you do have to be patient. Don't just leave for the sake of it. But for me, you need to think what is best. Like, you need to look beyond the fact that I've come through the academy and all of those things. There is a pathway. Hey, lenders are there, but the better we get, the less opportunities. Like, Saka was always going to come through. He's once in a generation. But Nelson and Nketiah, Smith Rowe, they've benefited because we were shit for time. Like, they were going to get opportunities. Now we're better. Where's the pathway? I don't know. So maybe again, it'd be difficult because we all want to see lenders, and we spoke about Liverpool at the start. It'd be nice if we had a little Conor Bradley coming through, just plugging gaps in the squad. But boy, I think I think every Prem team, has to get used to losing players, especially if we're getting better and better. Like, obviously, City have just lost Cole Palmer. They kept it moving. So it's a techie one, man.
Yeah, like I mean, City lost a lot of players on like £40 million sales. Like even Liverpool in their early days, they lost the likes of Solanke, they lost the likes of Ives, they lost Brewster. They got a lot of money for these players because the hype from the academy boosted their sales. If we can do that, because don't forget, we to compete in this league, we've got to be spending 150 to 200 million pounds per season. And I mean that in terms of if you want to split that in the summer and the winter, or if you just want to spend that in one window. But per season, you're looking at least 200 million pounds just to keep up with competition. That's not to excel them. That's not to, now that's it. We're going to take a step ahead of them. That's just to keep our current competitive nature in. So unfortunately, sacrifices have to be made. As much as we have a sentimental attachment, we want to bring the youth through. Even the likes of Barcelona, who are notorious for doing this, are now changing their model and bringing these players through and paying hundreds of millions of pounds for talent, because that's what you've got to do if you want to win.
I think naturally the youth are going to struggle to get through if you're bringing in high-level players. But at a high-level club, if you want to get... You need to prove yourself. Saka did it. Saka showed everyone, look, not everyone from the hair end did it. You know what I mean? I think maybe Nathan, is it Nathan and Nwari? Ethan, that's it. I keep saying Nathan. Ethan, yeah. I think he's probably one of the only ones I can see making it the whole way. And that's only because when he comes on, the other players look like they want to pass to him. And that shows me that he's ready, innit? Do you get what I mean? Odegaard kept passing to him when he got brought on. And it showed that out of all of them, that little group of players, he's going to be the one to come through, I think.
Yeah. When Jorginho was telling Arteta to bring him on as well.
That shows you they rate him.
I'm in agreement with that. I feel like some of our obvious. I think that we're going to have a Haaland revamp. I feel like we're going to do the one where we're going to be buying big talent, because I think there's a restructure they're doing in the academy at the moment as well with a lot of the managers.
Yeah, they bought the scout from Rangers.
Yeah, and now we've been linked with a couple of Scottish kids, so it makes sense.
I think it's one of them where we're ripping up. You just said now about Koisa Dewberry. I can't see good player, but I can't see him making us. Real Waters, I think he'll go. But Ethan's the only one again where I feel like he's got something. He's got that. Even though he's young, he can go and boss it. Like you look at Bradley, how Liverpool have done. You know what I mean? And he won't look out of place in the first 11. I think that's the biggest thing. I think some of the players, they'll play, but it'll be like Arsene Wenger calling cup times, where you knew that was the game you're going to play.
No, Arteta's slightly not even on that, so play. He's not on the charity minutes thing at all.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I feel like Ethan's the only one. But again, listen, at the end of the day, we've got to get to a position where I want to be the top dogs again, man. I'm fed up of being the nearly men, people laughing at us. I'm tired of it. Like now we're to run everything. Academy, women's, let's take over, man. Let's take over. Let's go.
Would you not reintegrate Lokonga? Because I'm sure that's a conversation Arsenal fans are starting to have. He's doing his thing at Luton. I'm just purely being devil's advocate and asking, like, could the penny have dropped with him? If Jorginho, Partey, and El Nene leave, could he bag a spot? I'm not on it personally, but
Jorginho's not leaving. Apparently, we're going to be triggering his extension for a season. But it looks like El Nene's out the door. You can take El Nene's spot and get those sort of 15 minutes, maybe those sort of charity minutes, as you want to say. But I don't know, man. I think he needs to prove himself just like everyone else does. I think the time we've seen him in our club, he hasn't been good enough. And that's due to the pressure of winning and delivering. I don't think he's got the composure for it. I don't think he's got the maturity for his age for it. I'll be honest, man, we've been swindled by company, Henry as well, man.
Yeah, he said next year Toure, we got robbed.
Yeah. He wanted that, what's his name, EK to come through, and he was sabotaging Arteta.
He definitely pocketed that transfer fee or percentage of it, man. I don't trust company at all. You're a liar. My last question for you, lot, before I let you lot cut, obviously, I feel Big Gabriel, the centre half, he was our most underrated player up until a point. He's now starting to get his flowers. Would it be fair to suggest that is now Benjamin White?
Similarities.
Yeah, kind of. But he was a bit off form because he had an injury. But I feel like since we took him out for a bit, he's come on smoke. Like he's been fantastic the last couple of games. And let's not forget, this is not his natural position. You know what I mean? We put him there when we really needed him, and he's looking like now. No one's looking going. Put him centre back, man. He looks good at right back. So,
stay where you're at and keep doing what you're doing.
What I like about Ben White is that he dyed his hair, had a dead game, cut his hair off, and then just started playing sick. Like,
yeah, him and Saka lost themselves. They lost themselves for a second, but I have to remember who they were. Saka got the Rashford trim. You start playing like Rashford.
You know, Saka took a couple days. Saka took a couple days. Whereas Ben White, one game, and he was like,
and he just reverted.
Cut that off.
Quickly, just to answer that Lokonga thing before we go. Personally, while his stock is rising and he's putting in good performances at Luton, sell him in the summer, because at the end of the day, I don't think coming back to Arsenal, I don't think he'll ever be on that level that we need or good enough. He's a good player, but I just think we just got to start looking higher now. And I think, while his stock's rising, summertime, 40 mil, maybe 45 if we can.
Just get our bread back, man, because it didn't look like we've never had a better chance to sell him. Didn't look that good in an Arsenal shirt. Didn't pull up any trees at Crystal Palace. Listen, big up Luton, but at the same time, if you're a Belgium international, Anderlecht Academy grad, Arsenal footballer, if you can't go to Luton, respectfully to Luton, and look head and shoulders above your teammates who look good technically, then where are we at with that? So I agree with you, man. I think, you know what, sometimes even myself, I'm very sentimental with these Arsenal players. Sometimes you sell them, reinvest, and even if Lokonga becomes the best thing since sliced bread, if we do what we need to do, then it is what it is, man, essentially.
We don't want another Maitland-Niles on our hands. Like, we could have got 30 mil for Maitland-Niles.
This is it. Sometimes just take the bread and keep it moving, man, if I'm honest.
Do you not think he's in Arteta's plans? Do you think he has a few...
What, Lokonga?
Thinking about Lokonga like that, like in the plans?
Things can change, but I always listen to what these players say. And I remember, it's not the same, but I remember when Smith Rowe went on loan, like, when did it? When Arteta first came in the role, I think Smith Rowe went on loan. Smith Rowe kept saying, Arteta is in constant contact with me. Lokonga said, I've had no contact with Arteta. Now, we've got things, they're doing things like it's irrelevant, but is it a thing of out of sight, out of mind? I know if I, being devil's advocate, if I rate a player and he's not in my immediate plans, I'm not saying you have to talk to him every day, but I'm going to have 1-2 conversations. I know if I'm not chatting to him, I don't really rate him like that. I think it's just, like you lot are saying, put him in the shop window. We'll deal with that in the summer, and hopefully Luton stay up so they can take him, really. I'm not sure, though, man.
I watched All or Nothing. Was that now, bro?
Yeah, man. Lokonga's clearly, I don't want to say attitude, but he's a bit soft, man. Like, woe is me.
Soft.
That's the difference with him and Eddie and Nketiah. Eddie takes it on the chin. That's one thing I rate about Eddie. Lokonga thinks he's owed something. I don't know him as a person, but the all or nothing. You know, I remember he hit out the Belgian manager when he was at Arsenal. Like, why am I not in the squad? Make yourself undeniably good in it, because I still don't know. Are you an 8 or a 6? You could do a bit of both, but what are you and how are you in an Arsenal team? Now, if you're a number 8, I'm sorry, but I don't really, unless you improve dramatically, I don't really want to see that at Arsenal. Are you better than Fabio Vieira, let alone Kai Havertz? Are you better than if we slap Smith Rowe there? Are you better than any of the guys we've been linked with? I don't know. Are you better than if we put Odegaard there? Like, what are you bringing to the team? I don't know, man. If he signs, if I'm sorry, not signs. If he's reintegrated, then I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, if he looks like the next Yaya Toure, we're all laughing, but I'm just saying, sale, man. Like, just get. We made a mistake. Get the money, reinvest, and keep it moving, man. But boy, I'm not sure. It would have been lovely to get Lavia to go with that comment. I felt we needed 2 centre mids in the summer, but that's just not how the cookie crumbled. Last question before I let you lot cut, yeah. Where you look at with Fabio Vieira? Because he's almost like the forgotten man.
Keep it. He's coming good, man. He'll come good. Listen, someone put a compilation the other day. I was browsing and it was showing all these assists from him. I was like, nah, keep him. I honestly, I feel there's something there with him. I think he's to bulk up just a little bit. I think he's too slight for the Prem at the moment. Just a bit more.
I agree.
Like, we're the only team where them players don't bulk up. Like, all these other teams are players bulk up.
He needs to chat to his countryman Bernardo Silva, because he's same stature as you, but he don't get bullied. So I don't know what he's eating or doing, but do that.
And I think we can get bits of what Bernardo gives City with Vieira. I genuinely feel there's a good player there. I wouldn't let him go at all.
Yeah, fair. Where the rest of you lot at with Vieira?
For me personally, I'm just seeing him on the bench talking to Cedric, and they're all laughing and that. It's not looking good, man. You know what I mean? When you start clicking up with Cedric and that, it's not looking good, bro.
But then again, it might help him, because Cedric allows you to stay past your sell-by day. Cedric's a hustler. Cedric's a hustler, bro. He's outlasted Tierney and all them, man. I rate Cedric at this point.
And he's getting minutes.
Exactly. Oh, man. But yeah, man. So yeah, man. This has been a great chat. Before I let you lot cut, let people know where they can find you, your socials, any content you lot make, all of that good stuff, man. All of it will be in the description when the stream's done, anyways. By the way, folks. But it's always good to hear it from the horse's mouth. Don't be shy, man. What's going on?
Yeah, man, all right. Go. Yeah, I'm Cav from the back of I'm about to say back of the net. You know, as your channel, from the Red Pitch podcast. I'll plug it. You free plug. Yeah, Red Pitch podcast on YouTube, the Red Pitch on Twitter. Go sub me up. I do Arsenal content, just football content in general. So the Red Pitch podcast, all one word.
You know where to find Cav, man.
I'm Matt, Back of the Net podcast, BOTN podcast. See, there's someone took my name on YouTube. I'm battling at the moment, but listen, I'm on Insta, Twitter, I'm all there. But yeah, listen, subscribe, follow, and yes, big up. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to this if you haven't already as well.
Appreciate that, man. We're missing 2 names and 2 plugs.
Yeah, make sure you firstly subscribe here. Been a good stream.
Appreciate
and,
that.
thank you for having us on.
No, man, you're always welcome, man.
Yeah, all socials, just Gooner Souls, or you can find me on the Football Terrace or even in Gar's channel. That's pretty much where I live at the minute.
More time,
man, it's Monk, man. More Time podcast. You know what it is. Come true. Combat sports watch-alongs, footy ones, little talk and that. But more importantly, big up DG, man. Release on YouTube every time.
Oh, no, I appreciate
Make sure you
like,
man. Subscribe, all of that good stuff. You know what I mean? For years, putting in the work. Hold tight, DG. That. Salute.
No, man, you know, bro. No, I appreciate it. You know, don't do this, man. You're gonna make a black brother blush, man. I appreciate
bro,
it.
Listen, you gotta claim your flowers, man.
That's it, bro.
One of the OGs in it. One of the OGs of the game, man.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
Now you know this man's trusting you. I'll be sitting there trying to edit my show and that. Man's put 3 already. I'm like, what? We need 1 more.
Allow me.
Honestly, it's bad.
Allow me, man. I'm trying to get 70k subs, man. I'm just grinding, man. Pause 100%. But like, yeah, man. Let me let you lock up, man. It's been a fantastic stream. People, let us know your thoughts on everything we've discussed. By the time this live stream is finished processing, all their stuff's in the descriptions. Follow the man, them. Smash the like button, subscribe. Let us know your thoughts. And for now, lads, enjoy your Sunday. People in the chat, enjoy what's left of your Sunday. Safe. Peace.
Salute.
There's always just that active and defending.
I think it's like